There are 8 interview questions that are really difficult to answer. These questions are the ones you will most likely fail your interview on. But fear not, I am here to help you. Not only will I tell you what the 8 most difficult questions are, I will tell you how to answer them to get the highest scores achievable. So if you have an interview coming up soon for any role or company, stay tuned because I promise to help you pass at the very first attempt. And just very quickly, if you are new to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thousands of you are passing your interviews at the first attempt. I can only help you if you are subscribed. And please give the video a like because that tells me you find these tutorials useful and it motivates me to create more content for you. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, let's jump straight into the presentation. Okay, to help you pass your interview at the first attempt, I will cover the following 3 things in this tutorial. Number 1, I will tell you what the 8 most difficult interview questions are. If you know what the questions are, you will be ready for them at your job interview. Number 2, I will then give you 2 powerful tips for answering each of those 8 interview questions. These tips will make sure you won't fail your interview. And then finally, number 3, I will give you brilliant top scoring example answers to the 8 most difficult interview questions to ensure you pass at the first attempt. Okay, so let's start working through those 8 most difficult interview questions, the tips and top scoring answers. Please take notes. Most difficult interview question number 1 is, tell me something that's not on your CV or resume. Now this is a difficult question simply because the majority of candidates are not prepared for it. Here's 2 tips to ensure you give the right answer. Tip number 1. If possible, tell them something you did in a previous job that helped the company. You could say you were the person who trained new team members whenever they joined the company, or you could say you organized a team building day to help bring your co-workers closer together and boost morale. Tip number 2, or you could tell them something you have done in your personal life that will impress them. Good ideas include winning a team sport event, raising money for charity, or a time when you carried out volunteer work and what you learned from the experience. Okay, let me now give you a brilliant top scoring answer to that most difficult interview question. Tell me something that's not on your CV or resume. Here we go. Tell me something that's not on your CV or resume. In my previous job, I helped introduce a new office waste management procedure. I was concerned about the amount of waste we were generating, so I researched recycling companies in the local area, found out what the process was, and then presented my suggestion to my manager. She agreed it was a great idea and the procedure was implemented within 2 weeks. The company also saved money because people were more conscious of the need not to be wasteful. Most difficult interview question number 2 is, what did you like least about your last job? Wow. So this is one of those interview questions where people can't help but speak negatively about their co-workers, the workplace culture or boss, and then they end up wondering why they failed their interview. Here's 2 tips to help you. Tip number 1. Negativity in a job interview is unhelpful. In your answer, do not criticize your employer or anyone else who works there. And tip number 2, use this tough question as an opportunity to show you are a keen and enthusiastic employee. Okay, let me now give you a brilliant top scoring response to that question. What did you like least about your last job? Here we go. What did you like least about your last job? Overall, I really enjoyed my last job. The workplace culture was positive and my team were all great to collaborate with. The only one thing I would have changed is how the company viewed opportunity. I put forward several product ideas based on emerging trends in the industry and customer demand, but my manager said we didn't have the time to explore them further, which I felt was a missed opportunity. Most difficult interview question number 3. Give an example of a time when you showed initiative. Wow. This has to be one of the hardest interview questions to answer. Showing initiative means when you took control of a situation independently and achieved a positive outcome. Here's 2 tips to help you. Tip number 1. Think of a difficult problem or challenge you encountered where you took control of the situation and resolved it. In your answer, talk about the steps you took and any challenges you had to overcome. And tip number 2, it is perfectly acceptable to give an answer either from your work or personal life. Here's an example response from a workplace situation. Here we go. Give an example of a time when you showed initiative. My manager gave myself and 2 other people a project to work on that none of us had any experience in. I took the initiative and researched online how to complete the project correctly. I also contacted a colleague of mine who had experience in this area of specialism. After concluding my research and speaking to my colleague on the telephone, I wrote down step-by-step instructions of what we needed to do. I then got together with my co-workers to brief them on what was required and allocated tasks before setting to work. The project was a huge success and my manager praised me for taking the initiative despite our lack of experience. Most difficult interview question number 4 is, what motivates you? Now, the one word that jumps to the minds of most people when answering this difficult interview question is money. But if you answer this question by saying money motivates you, you will fail your interview. Here's 2 tips to help you. Tip number 1. Make sure you mention the word goals in your answer. If you are motivated by having goals to achieve, it will definitely help you to get hired. And tip number 2, in your answer, I recommend you say you are motivated by 3 things: doing a great job for your employer, good health, and supporting your family. Here's the perfect answer to help you. What motivates you? I am motivated by doing a great job for my employer, good health, and supporting my family. I am also motivated by having difficult goals to work towards. If I am achieving my goals, both inside and outside of work, then I am making progress. Ultimately, if I do a great job for my employer, I can then support my family, which makes me very happy. Most difficult interview question number 5 is, why is there a gap in your resume? Now, most people who have gaps in their work history are concerned about them, but providing they follow these 2 tips, they'll be absolutely fine. Here they are. Tip number 1, take ownership of any gaps in your employment history and, more importantly, be positive about them. If you're negative and downbeat about your work gap, it projects to the hiring manager that there's a problem. Be positive about your CV or resume gaps. And tip number 2, use your gap in employment as an opportunity to show you benefited from it. Here's how to do that with my top scoring answer. Why is there a gap in your resume? Here we go. I took time away from work to go traveling. I used this time to experience different cultures, languages, ways of living, and it made me a better person as a result. I am now tolerable, patient, understanding, and I appreciate the benefits of diversity and different ways of working, which I can bring to your team. Most difficult interview question number 6 is, how do you deal with repetitive tasks? Now, this is another really difficult interview question because, again, people aren't prepared for it. It is a question that is being used more often during interviews because one of the main reasons why people leave their jobs is because they become bored with repetitive tasks. Here's 2 great tips to help you give the perfect answer. Tip number 1. In your answer, talk about the benefits of repetitive tasks. If you convince the hiring manager that repetition is not a problem for you, they will be definitely more likely to hire you. And tip number 2, in your answer, mention the words expert and fast worker. Here's my top scoring response to help you. How do you deal with repetitive tasks? I enjoy repetitive tasks because they enable me to become an expert at what I do, and it means I become a very fast worker. There's repetition in every job, so repetitive tasks do not faze me. Providing I maintain my concentration levels and continue to check my work for accuracy, repetition actually helps me achieve more for my employer in a faster time. Most difficult interview question number 7. How do you handle criticism? Now let's face it, most people become defensive when they receive criticism from others, especially their boss or manager. However, constructive feedback is the breakfast of champions. If you want to be the best version of yourself possible, you must learn to embrace criticism and feedback and use them to your advantage. Here's 2 tips for giving the perfect answer to this difficult interview question. Tip number 1, do not say, well, it depends who's criticizing me. Your aim when answering this question is to show you are comfortable with criticism and you never become defensive. And tip number 2, show in your answer an understanding of how constructive criticism can help you improve, grow, and develop as an employee. Here's my top scoring response. How do you handle criticism? Here we go. I view criticism and feedback as an opportunity for me to improve, grow, and develop. If my manager criticizes me, I will listen to what they are saying before considering what action I can take to improve. If I am always improving, I will be of benefit to my team, which will ensure I always have secure employment. Most difficult interview question number 8 is, what are your salary expectations? Everyone hates this question. It's one of the most difficult interview questions because you don't want to price yourself out of the job, or even worse, ask for a low figure you will never be comfortable working for. Here's 2 tips for giving the best answer possible that will land you the highest salary achievable. Tip number 1, do your research before your interview. Find out what the going rate is for your job and industry. You can grab this information at the website payscale.com. And tip number 2, in your response, showcase your abilities and talk about what you will do in the role for your desired salary. Here's my top scoring response. What are your salary expectations? My salary expectations are $49,000. This amount is in line with the going rate for a person with my experience and knowledge in this industry. For $49,000, I will bring a wealth of experience to the team, a strong network I can tap into at any time to help your company grow, and creative ideas that will help increase sales. At $49,000, I am very confident you will quickly see a great return on your investment. Okay, so there's the 8 most difficult interview questions to answer, some top tips and brilliant responses. Now, if you want to download all of those answers, plus an additional 100 brilliant responses to difficult interview questions, click that link right now in the top right-hand corner of the video. Head straight through to my website, passmyinterview.com, and you can immediately download this fantastic guide. It comes as a PDF guide, which means you can have it in your inbox literally within 2 minutes from now. It's going to put you ahead of the competition at your interview. Also, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thousands of you are passing at the first attempt. I can only help you if you are subscribed. Please give the video a thumbs up, give it a like, because that really does motivate me to create more content for you. And don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn. I have put my LinkedIn link in the description below the video. It's always a pleasure to connect with like-minded professionals such as yourself. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best for passing your job interview. Have a great day.